Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris.
Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of the Brother Henry and You Show. My name is Reverend Michael Mangus, and I am from the New Thought Media Network. And we have a very special interview for you this evening. This is the gentleman who I have been producing his show here for the past, 2 years now. And it's just a real honor to have him on our show this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from his secret studios in and around Maryland, here he is, the wonderful Reverend Jim Webb. Jim, welcome this evening.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, it's really an honor to have you. And this evening, what we're talking about is your brand new book, which is Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, which is out now on Amazon. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know all about you because I am your producer, but tell us a little bit about yourself and why you wrote the book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity.
Sure. I'm an ordained interfaith minister. I serve as the senior minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I have been working with clients doing counseling, coaching, and intuitive readings for about 30 years now. One of the things I have begun to notice in the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that I've counseled is that there are often many subconscious barriers to our well being, whether that be professional prosperity or financial prosperity or logistical prosperity where our lives work, or spiritual prosperity, which gives us a sense of deep peace. We often have unconscious barriers to this. And so I wrote a series of books, the mothership of which is The Soul of Prosperity. And so I began to explore that even more. And one of the key things I found is that one of the X factors of prosperity is forgiveness. And that's why I wrote Forgive Your Way to Prosperity.
Okay, so there's been other books about forgiveness and prosperity. So what is the difference here in your book compared to the other books that are out there?
Yes, I am of the idea that if you want to make radical changes in your life, you must make radical changes in your thoughts, because your thoughts are projected out into your world, reflected back to you in your experiences. Given that platform, I work with A Course in Miracles, and we totally redefine prosperity and we totally redefine forgiveness. And the way we redefine forgiveness that is radical is that we define forgiveness not as something that you do for someone else or to someone else. We don't even define it as a verb that you do. We instead define forgiveness as an inner state that you attain. And you know what this is based on?
Tell me.
It is based on the idea that when you've got one finger pointed out, there are three fingers pointing back at you. And the premise of this, based on A Course in Miracles, is that our inner energy is reflected outwardly in the world. So if we're unconsciously criticizing and judging ourselves, that's what's going to show up in our world. So we have to get to a different inner state in order to allow the things we desire in our outer world.
All right. So let's say that I have someone who I feel has hurt me on some level.
Yes,
All right. So I'll say the traditional techniques is to forgive them
yes,
for their transgression.
yes.
So explain how I'm still not sure, and probably our listeners are not, and viewers are not sure about how this is different. You're saying coming from a state of forgiveness. Well, how would one do that?
Yes. When you forgive the other person for their transgression, you are solidifying a dynamic of you as a victim and them as a victimizer. Any energy that you solidify that way will repeat itself. And I figured this out accidentally because I would uh, counsel people and they would start talking about someone that they forgave and they would whip themselves back into a lather, and it was almost as if that same energy was still there. And you know
Okay.
why that same energy seemed to be still there? Because it was. They locked,
Because
yes,
it was. Okay, go ahead.
yes, they locked themselves into the dynamic of you are my victimizer and I am your victim. And when you lock yourself into any energy pattern, that energy pattern is going to show up in your life outside of you.
Okay.
So the way to unlock that is within you, unlocking the part of you that has been frozen in victimhood. And this is not blaming the victim. This is healing the part of you that has been victimized. And that's a different way to see it.
All right. So how would one do that though? So again, if forgiveness is not something, so again, the traditional teachings of forgiveness is something that again that we do to other people. What
Yeah.
I'm still not clear about is again the mindset of okay, if I am doing it to another person, then I'm still remaining in that place of victimhood. So how does one get out of that treadmill or
One
that
gets out
hamster
of that
wheel?
one gets out off that treadmill by, and I'm reminded of an old Christian gospel song, Come Ye Disconsolate. It says, Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. So we open to the infinite, loving, benevolent source of all good, the force, and you can call it whatever you want. Some call it God, some call it the universe, some call it spirit. But we open to that infinitely loving, infinitely abundant, infinitely benevolent, and infinitely accepting source. And when we open to experience that energy, we can direct that energy to the part of us that has been hurt. So when we direct that energy to the part of us that has been hurt, the hurt begins to subside. And the more the hurt begins to subside, the less we are likely to be engaged in that dynamic outside of us because feeling good feels good. And we don't want to endanger that by continuing to engage with someone who doesn't make us feel good. So the energy changes within us. And when the energy changes within us, that shifted energy must inevitably, ultimately show up in our world. So if we no longer have that victim space within us, it can't show up outside of us.
Okay. We're talking this evening here on the Brother Henry and You show. with your special guest host, Reverend Michael Mangus. We're talking this evening with author Reverend Jim Webb about his latest book called Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. So, Jim, take us through, again, kind of a process of how to do that. Now, when we talk about how the Course in Miracles defines forgiveness in relationship to the world compared to how that we have been taught to forgive, that our phone lines usually light up
Yes, they do.
our, our comments, because individuals are saying, well, now hold it here. They did something to me, and really, they should be in jail for it.
Mhm.
And that you're telling me that on some level that I either caused it or that I went ahead and brought it about to bring about some type of lesson. Am I being accurate in my interpretation of that?
That is an extremely common response. Absolutely. Absolutely. And people get very offended by that, actually.
Oh, absolutely. You're not the producer having to take a look at all the comments and go, oh boy, I don't know if I can
Uh-oh.
put this on the air, but go ahead.
Yes. And the part of us that gets alarmed by that is the part of us that has been conditioned to think that everything outside of us happens to us. Now, as metaphysicians, we look at things a little differently. We look at things in terms of everything is created by God in order to invite us back to oneness with God. We thought we were separate with God, and in that separation, we thought we were separate with each other. But everything is gently and lovingly designed to bring us back to God. As as Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for the good. Or, as A Course in Miracles says, if you only knew that all things, past, present, and to be, were gently planned by the one who would bring you back to love. So, if you look at it from that perspective, we can release our judgments of the situation. And there are two things that are necessary. Number one, to look at it more objectively by releasing our judgments. But we can't look at it objectively and we can't release our judgments until we feel the love that we need. So that process of opening ourselves to universal love and allowing universal love to heal our wounds is first. And then, and only then, can we see it more objectively. And when we see it more objectively, without the pain, without the hurt, without the anger, without the recriminations, we can add God to the mix. And the light and the grace and the power and the glory of God will heal those places within us. And we can start sending out a new signal. Instead of I am a victim, we can send out the signal I am creative and I am powerfully creative to create what I desire instead of what I don't desire.
Okay, so I'm going to act as the devil's advocate here.
Yes,
Reverend Webb, you don't understand. You really don't. You really do not get it here.
yes,
That, again, that I was abused, I was
yes.
raped,
Mm-hmm,
that I was in an extremely abusive relationship.
mm-hmm.
Are you telling me here that there is no them out there, but there's within me, is that there's things that need to be healed in me by allowing in what you call the grace of God, that coming from that state of forgiveness, which is within me, and asking again, from the Course, the Holy Spirit, to intervene to heal those parts of me that hold that grudge or forgiveness, that's pretty far fetched, sir.
It is. It is. It
Go ahead.
is. It is
Elaborate
very
on that.
far fetched, but there is pain within us all. I'm reminded of a line from Dreamgirls where Effie White was getting fired and she said, "I've got pain." And everybody in the cast said together, "But Effie, we've all got pain." There is pain within us all. And there is the light of God that would heal that pain. That much is true. And we are here to heal that pain. That pain may have been triggered by our abuser, our rapist, those that enslaved our ancestors, a financial system that seems to be hostile to our desires to get ahead. Something outside of us may have triggered that pain, but that pain is in us. So we first go to the source of the pain, which is in us. If you've got a toothache, you don't put athlete's foot lotion on your toe. If you've got athlete's foot on your toe, you don't put Anbesol on your tooth. You go to the source of the discomfort.
Right.
And that's all I'm saying. You go to the place where the pain exists and you bring, invite, allow, invoke, and direct the light of God, the healing of God, and the grace of God to that inner place of pain.
Okay.
Does that help
That
it make a
makes
little more
sense.
sense?
Yes. And I think too that again, that uh, from some of the things that I'm reading um, in psychology and other therapeutic modalities, is they're saying that if you have been abused, that really it is not to your advantage to forgive. What I'm hearing you say, though, is that there is woundedness within us that needs to be healed. And when we're able to heal that woundedness, no matter how it came about, that what happens is that then we're able to then come from a place of understanding, and then to go ahead and to release the need to get even, which that's in the ego from my studies. That's the need that we have, is again to even the books. So
Yeah.
so what you're saying is coming, it's not something that we do to someone, but it's something that we come from. Is that is
Yes.
a state that we come from?
Yes.
Send all mail to the Brother Henry Show. So, um, again, I think that again that okay. So let me just go ahead, and we just have a few more minutes here. So, but Reverend Webb, you don't understand that again that I'm experiencing in the world because of my skin color is I'm experiencing discrimination. I'm experiencing abuse. I'm experiencing uh, things that again I have to think about race every single day. So how does that, if no one is a victim here, or if victimhood keeps me in that cycle, how do we heal that? How do we heal that within ourselves? And then also, how do we heal that in the world?
We realize that there are two parts of us. And this reminds me of an old song by Tina Marie, Behind the Groove. She said, there's another side inside of you. Okay? So there is the part of us that we present. Our eternal souls chose a body, chose parents, chose experiences in order for us to grow. But then there is the part of us that is God, that has never been separated from God, that has all of the qualities of God, that is has access to and is connected to the love of God, and that has never been disconnected to the love of God. Some of us call this our highest self, our God self, our spiritual self, or our eternal self. Now, what happens through meditation and prayer and communion with the highest power is that that part of us, that other side inside of us, gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger in our consciousness. And we start thinking of ourselves more as the beloved child of God. And
Hmm.
we start thinking of ourselves less as a victim of circumstance. And as a man thinketh, so he shall become. As we change our thoughts change our energies. As we change our energies change our vibrations. As we change our vibrations change what we emanate. And when we change what we emanate, we change what we attract. So we start walking in the world as deserving instead of undeserving. We start walking in the world as holy instead of profane. We start walking in the world as loving and lovable and as love instead of loveless. We start walking in the world as peace instead of conflict. And the way we walk in the world is the way the world responds.
Okay.
And so, yes, so
Well,
that's how we
go
shift.
ahead.
So that's how we shift our consciousness. And when we shift our consciousness, the world either shifts to be in accordance with that, or the world has less power to make us feel less than when the truth of how we feel is generated from within us through our connection with the divine.
So let me go ahead and put this wonderful book back up, which is available now on Amazon. And that is Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. It is only for you, only $2.99. And that's available now on Kindle. Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. What I like about the book is that there are not only there's probably what 24, 25 pages of information, but also that you have meditations that are embedded in that. So if there's something that again that you would like elaboration on, you just go ahead and you click on the meditation and then it can help you. Now I want to say to individuals who are watching this tonight or whenever that it's aired is that if you are experiencing any type of emotion about what we're talking about this evening, good. Because it's coming up for healing. It's coming up for you to at least take a look at it. It's easy to go ahead and to blame, oh, that Reverend Jim, that Reverend Michael on that program on the Brother Henry and You show. You know, though, they're saying that, uh, that we need a deeper part of us to heal, and you don't see the outer world and all that stuff. If that's bringing that up this evening, good, because that gives you an opportunity to be able to start healing it. Okay, so that's what we're saying. Again, this is a different take on forgiveness than maybe that many of you have not experienced or have taken a look at. I want to give our folks some information here. If you'd like more information about Reverend Jim Webb, it's reverendjimwebb.com. That's reverendjimwebb.com. If you'd like to send me an email, that's Pastor Michael Mangus at gmail.com. Just to know that, again, that if you're experiencing a lot of emotion about it, then good, because now you're ready to at least take a look at it and say, okay, maybe, and again, from the course, maybe there's another way to take a look at this. Maybe there's another way to examine this other than the way that maybe I've been taught in the past. So again, do not hold your opinion again to You have two people here that you can get in contact with to help you to start working through that. But I would say to start with going ahead and again getting the book. Let me go ahead and put it back up there again. Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. And again, it's available on Kindle for a low price of only $2.99. And that, again, it really is worth the $3 invested in yourself to go ahead and to at least read through the book. And if you have any questions, again, to get in contact with Reverend Jim Webb through his website or to get in contact with me. All right. Any parting words, sir, this evening?
I want to thank everybody for your attention and for your patience. I know this is a radical approach, but if you want radical changes in your life, a radical approach may be just what the doctor ordered. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Reverend Jim, for joining us this evening. And I want to thank all of you here for joining us. And that if you'd like, we encourage you here on the Brother Henry and You show to go ahead and to like us at the on our YouTube page, which is Henry Harris 100, Henry Harris 100, or on our Facebook page. Again, those likes help us again to be able to get higher up in the algorithm and get us more views and understand and get into other audiences. All right. So again, our YouTube page again, Henry Harris 100, or to go on to our Facebook page. On behalf of Henry Harris, I am, and also Reverend Jim Webb, I am Reverend Michael Mangus from the New Thought Media Network, and I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night, and we will see you hopefully soon.